All right, whenever you're ready.
We all know that life sucks sometimes. I'm gonna have to agree with McKinnon when he said, a cynic is a man who, when he smells the flowers, looks around for a coffin. I agree with this completely because life does suck. In a sense, when bad things happen, they come in threes. When it rains, it pours. It's very true because I've experienced it firsthand. One time at my job, we had a fight at a club and people were wilding out and getting crazy. In the parking lot, I tried to stop it, but inevitably, there was a shooting in my parking lot. So, from that situation, I learned that when bad things happen, they escalate. My manager also once told me that when bad things happen, they come in threes. That same week, I got fired from my job. I was also robbed $2,500 in the club parking lot. And then I broke up with my girlfriend the next week. So we all know that when bad things happen, they come in threes, and that life isn't just candies and flowers. Life really does suck, but you have to look at the good things as well, because even though life sucks sometimes, it's important to keep your mind open to the good things as well. But just know that always, when it rains, it pours, and just keep happy and move on with life. That's it.
Well, I hesitate to say anything negative about your speech. I don't know when all this happened, and I don't want to pour one more thing on top of everything else that went bad. Holy criminy. Yeah, that's a bad day. Bad week, anyway. I like the way you ID'd the quote at the beginning. You've got a nice personal statement to lead up to the quote. You tell us what the quote is. You're kind of agreeing with that idea. So the start of the speech is pretty solid. There's not much of a plan after that. It sounded like you were going to be talking about, you know how things come in threes, and you just the only example that you had of the thing coming in threes was that one particular day, which was a good example or that one particular incident. It wasn't all on the same day, but that was a pretty good example. But it seems to me like that should be a starting point. Let me talk to you about a personal thing where the bad things come in threes. Now let's talk about something bad that happens that comes in threes when we're talking about our social system or our culture or something like that. And you can expand that concept a little bit more. And then finally, let's just talk about relational issues. It always seems like something bad's going on. You could save your girlfriend dumping you for that one. Or, I'm sorry, breaking up. She didn't dump you. I'm sure you dumped her. It's the other way around. But so I just, you need to get a little bit of structure, and that'll help you expand a little bit, because it is, as the way it is you basically have incidents and you just share those incidents. We don't get a lot of detail on them, and it's the combination of those incidents that makes up the substance of your presentation, but we don't get much chance to invest in them and feel like, oh, we're really a part of this story. It's just like I'm reading the news report of the crime thing that happened instead of getting you telling the story to your friends after. Oh, you're not going to believe what happened last night. What a night I had. If you went through that story and you just said that to your friends, wow, that's too bad. Here, let's have a beer and let's go on. That would be the end of your evening, a minute and 30 seconds into your evening. It's never that simple when people are doing things. So you kind of have to figure out how to engage people a little bit more with doing those things. All right, let's talk about presentation issues. I think you project your voice pretty well, but you need a little more variety in your inflection. You probably have a natural range that you seem like you're a pretty calm person most of the time, and you're very deliberate in the way you're speaking. Sometimes when you're performing and speaking in front of a group, you have to put a little bit more energy in on a couple of things. And I got the feeling that you started off that way, but you didn't stay that way. You kind of fell back into just, well, I'll just tell the story and I'll get through it. And there are a couple of places, you're telling us about this horrible week that you had, all these, and then I got robbed. $2,500 I got robbed. That's not inconsequential. That was a pretty important kind of thing. And that was terrible. Oh, let's put some icing on the cake. I broke up with my girlfriend. You got to talk like there's some emotional component to what you're talking about. And I'm exaggerating a little bit just to give you an idea about what you need to do. You've got some of that, but like I said, it's in a narrow range. And I think you need to kind of expand your range a little bit to be more effective. Two things that I noticed about the visual part of your presentation is your gestures are very limited. You basically stand with your hands at the side the whole time. They're just hanging there, and you need to be a little bit more engaged there, even if it's just a couple of indicators. And then another thing happened, and then this happened, and then something else happened. So it looks a little more natural as opposed to just standing there, and then this happened, and then this other thing happened. It doesn't look very much like you're engaged with what's going on. One place that you're trying to be engaged is looking at the audience, and I can see that you're saying, I'm going to look up and look at people, but it really feels like that scanning thing that I told you to watch out for, where I'm looking at everybody, looking at everybody, looking at everybody, looking at everybody. Instead of engaging and talking to people, you're just kind of overlooking the audience a little bit, and that's a problem. So you're trying to do the right thing. I always tell people, like all skills, public speaking is like learning anything else. You go through particular stages, and you get the stage where you know what you're supposed to do, but you have to think about what you're doing. And that's kind of where you are right now. I can tell that you know what you're supposed to do, and you're having to think about what you're doing instead of it all coming naturally to you. So you have to keep thinking about it and work on that a little bit more. All right, thank you.